visitation. One of our colleagues was visited by his mom, and when you reach at the staging center, before you go to Muwonge Road, there were some very, very, very old cars, very old, those ancient cars, and where they would put fuel in a small jerrycan, and the jerrycan is in front of the driver's seat, that kind of thing. So they were really very old. So the mom came by public means, got into, because those are the only station we used to have then, the taxis. Got into it and came to school, and everybody said, "Oh, have they come?" So, and this guy denied the mom. Oh. Can you imagine? Says no, because you see, he wanted to identify himself with these guys, the Pajeros and Juan, all this kind of thing, and it wasn't good, because at the end of the day, his son suffered. One, he wasn't able to see the mom. He wasn't able to get any grab, any money. So you can imagine the rest of the time how it went. It's tough.
Very sad.
Yeah. So we have struggled. Personally, I have, as I mentioned, you go into school, you find these people, and you find they are cool, they're kind of dressing, and you kind of want to associate with them.
Yeah.
I remember back then, again in school, one of our colleagues had carried he came with chemicals. I think it was relaxer, to relax your hair and all that kind of thing. So I said, these guys look cool. This is the group I should be in, So I also had to put some relaxer and, would walk and, feel good. But got us into trouble.
Yeah.
The administration had to get us, and we had to be really disciplined. Exactly. So we have had such kind of struggles, and I think everybody goes through it.
Yeah. But we'll definitely need to get into a break shortly, and when we come back, we'll be continuing this discussion. If you relate to this, then you should be sitting even tighter. And getting out a notebook and a pen, because you're going to use a lot of the wisdom that Mr. Darlington will be sharing when we return. So, Mbithi just shared a story, and I think she needs to delve more into what kind of car she wanted her father to drive, because at this juncture, he needs to know that if he still doesn't have that car right now,
he still does not. And it's okay.
But you're doing better.
Oh yeah, like I like that stuff doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No, but I used to tell people that they had what were those long cars called?
A limousine.
Yeah, a limousine, and like it's my dad that drives it. He only drives it to work. And
how old were you when?
I was in primary school. Primary school.
Because there's primary 7. And your colleagues are like, she's lying. Then there's primary 3, where everybody, people can sort
as
of.
Much younger. In B7, the story kind of changed. He has a color. He only. My goodness, I don't know why our identity was so stuck in cars. Like it was just, I don't know.
I think it's.
But when you're growing up, the car thing is one of those things.
It's a big deal.
The car, the house. The kind of electronic gadgets you have at home. And, so those are always the things in primary school that people talk about. And today they talk about phones. They talk of these games, and all that. So it's changed now, because this is what it is now. It's the electronic world, So talking, my father has a phone. Actually, I have a phone. I have all this kind of thing. So
it took us really long at home to transition from the cathode ray TV, that TV that has like
the bump,
a big bump,
to the flat screens. It took us quite a while, and during that time, because I had become more aware of the fact that people have flat screens at home. Some of which are so huge, others are like small, but generally people have flat screens. I feared bringing people home. I feared bringing friends home, just be like,
and they'd still see.
They want to see the cathode ray TV, and they'll be like, these guys, are they struggling? And yet, it just wasn't a priority for my parents, and that was okay. That was okay.
But as a child, you don't know that.
Yeah, as a child, you don't.
Actually, it's not about even childhood. Even in adulthood.
That's true.
It's just that we pretend, because when we talked about it, it relates. We also remember we took a while to get into the flat screen. And so when I went to those homes, in my home, not even my place, but my home, married, so I look at all those flat screens and should have that one. Now how will I break words?
Yeah.
So I mean, it comes in. It's until you reach a level when you say, you know, there is time for everything. I'll get it.
Yes.
I'll get it when I need it and when I can
afford it.
can afford it.
Yeah.
But before you reach that level, at every stage of your age, you still compare, because it's about comparing.
Yeah.
Forget even about the identity bit of it.
Yeah.
The comparing bit.
Yeah.
So you begin comparing. But until you reach a level and say, no, I'll get where they are at the right time.
Yeah. And it's like you're talking about it, and it's you get to a place where you're no longer about pleasing people.
Yeah.
You're no longer, it's not what it's about. Because when you want people to think about you a certain way. And I think that's one of the ways God helps us realize your character. But he's also pointing it out to us that we're elevating the things above virtues like character, being kind, you know. We're elevating material possessions from the time we're children. The cars, the flat screen TV, who has DSTV at their home? For you have Star Times, or you know. So it's you're comparing, but it's about those things, and God is trying to tell us, man, those are perishables, right? Yeah, those are perishable things. So get away from the people pleasing, and you'll even have a more successful life, because you won't get into debt or you know, things like that. Bless up. Corin Hawthorne on the song Bless Up, playing for you here on Power 104.1 FM, all about love. 24 minutes now after 11 a.m. and we're having a beautiful conversation about identity and even discussing some of our triggers. If you've been on Instagram Live, we have been having a conversation. We're carrying it on even when we're off air, just talking about why it is that having a flat screen was really important, you know, at a certain point, and why we couldn't bring guests home, or you know, why we care about.
We felt like it says something about us.
Yeah.
Does it really?
Does it really? Or, you know, why do we elevate the material above the virtue, you know, virtues and character?
Yeah, absolutely. And just before we left off, Mr. Darlington was actually helping us, you know, just define identity and why it is so important for us to know our identity.
That we do should be centered around Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And anything around Christ does not define who we are.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's like when you go and buy an electronic, the author or the manufacturer
The analogy of, you know, the manufacturer, you know, I know people have used it before, but if the person who made the phone, the Samsung phone, knows how to use it, you know, better than even I do need the manual all the time so that I do not abuse or misuse it, or you know, ruin it. You know, it could in their hands, this phone could have a lifespan much longer than in my hands when I'm unaware of it. So yes, indeed, it's true that we do have to find our identity in God.
All right,
Define it that way.
Yeah, we definitely have to. So
for me to be able to convince somebody, we need to go back the memory lane. Tomorrow I may not be a manager. You know, I could be a politician, tomorrow I'm not a politician. You know, I could own a lot of material things, but they can vanish.
Yes, right.
They can get stolen, they can be stolen, anything can happen. So if you put so for me, that's the way I can tell somebody, advise somebody, that you cannot put your identity into things.
Yeah.
Because they paid ago, I was the commercial manager of Rift Valley Areas. It closed. I'm no longer the commercial manager of Rift Valley Areas. You understand? You can imagine if my identity was in that, I wouldn't even be here. I'll be hiding. Because all that I define myself as is that position. But it's no more.
Yeah.
So that's the way.
All my titles. You have not, you know, and I think that really does speak into the identity question.
Yeah.
That if you did not use all my titles, that I am a right reverend, honorable, canon, doctor, all these things, and you miss just one, then you're not even worth my time. And then define you, not letting your titles define you, and despite how much effort it took, you know. So how do we help people, you know, navigate those situations? The man has refused to talk to me. I've gone to his office, but I didn't write doctor.
That reminds me, let me just give you a small story. In one of the companies I also worked, I was also a manager still in the commercial department. So I went, I wanted to make an appointment with the director. I think she was executive director of one of those companies, you know. And I bumped into her and I told her, Madam, I'd like to book an appointment. She says, okay. I meet only managing directors and CEOs.
Whoa. Whoa.
You find yourself behaving in the same way wherever you go, in church, you know, in your house at home, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You just distort the relationship with your people.
Yeah.
So people need to come to a level of understanding. You need to tell them to differentiate between those titles are for your office. You know?
And it's a temporary situation. A year from now, you may not be serving in that capacity.
Yes.
So that's a temporary. It's a temporary thing. But you'll always be a father.
Exactly.
You'll always be a husband. You'll
Yes.
always be a brother. You'll always be a friend
Yes.
to someone. So
Yes.
there are titles that we should be investing in. I guess that's what I hear you saying.
Exactly.
That are more important than the one that required money.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true.
I mean, you talk of doctor, professor. You're not the only professor. You're not the first, and you won't be the last.
Yes.
Who knows? Maybe our children will even they will have invented another. I don't know, doctor or something.
Yeah.
You know.
That's right. That's right. An amazing discussion we're having here on identity, and we'll be taking a very short break. And when we return, we'll be continuing as we just dive into, just understand how does the knowledge of your identity affect how you relate with people, whether in marriage, in friendships. We just want to get to know that, and lots of interesting stories as well. Do keep it Power FM.
In today's at the precipice of digital evolution stands Postulate, a pioneering name in web
Have
hosting,
you
domain
ever been in a
administration, and
situation
software
like that?
development.
Like Darlington just talked about how someone didn't said I only talk to. Have you ever been in a situation
Where?
like
Met people like that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What?
And they do.
What? So many times. So many times. I've met people and I'm just like,
Understands each client's unique aspirations, offering
Okay.
world-class
Like-
e-commerce solutions and technical
Yeah.
support.
Your networks and whatnot, and that's where their identities are. And if those things are taken away, that's when I think that there are a lot of people who are, I think, are in depression, have found themselves unwell because the thing that they
Fear brings death.
That's how
418 reminds us
I don't know,
that
hard
there is no
and
fear
strange
in
this
love.
whole identity
When
thing
perfect
is.
love drives out fear,
And you know, as
because
you're
fear
talking,
has
it
to do
reminds
with
me, I've
punishment.
had quite a
The
number
one
of
who
instances.
fears is not being
You walk in
perfect
a
love.
restaurant,
Yeah.
Thousands love you.
dressed in your jeans, your t-shirt. I mean, it's a Saturday. Don't wear as if you're going for a wedding or going to go. No. So walk in a restaurant, apologizing, I'm sorry, you know. And also reminds me again when you walked in a restaurant and you sat.
Social media has influenced a lot. You see, and even now, I was talking about the plastic surgery. The artists are dressing up that way. Somewhere in the office, you know, it's interesting. It's such a big deal and so deep.
It is sad. Yet the Bible tells us that we are wonderfully,
and fearfully
made and beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And those are things. One of the things that God.
As a matter
Did you release that?